I already know Nick probably knows all the information from this article right here.
About what?
About Jake Paul and Dana White.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah?
Do you actually?
Yeah.
So Jake Paul,
Is it juicy?
Jake Paul
Shit, dude.
promises to retire from boxing if Dana White meets his demands.
What's his demands?
Let's test Nick.
So Dana White wants him to retire from boxing?
No, Dana White doesn't give a shit, dude.
okay.
He don't give a fuck. He probably just doesn't really care about Jake Paul in general, but Jake Paul keeps talking some smack, so he wants to like fight one of.
He generates really good buzz, though.
He does.
Really good
And
at it.
Dana, can I call him Dana? Is that cool?
No, dude.
Good old Dana.
Okay, Mr. White is a killer promoter.
Yeah.
He really is.
Yeah.
So he'll take advantage of this.
We're not that far from him. Maybe we could just go to the UFC office and ask him what his real thoughts are as a news channel. You know,
I
like-
think Dana White would come on this.
I think he would.
I think he would.
I think if you reach out to Dana White, I think he would come
I
on.
totally think he's bigger than this.
I don't
Nah, we're at the Trump Tower, bro. Like,
think I don't
we're
think
at
he's
the-
banned from the Trump. That's one of the few hotels he's not banned
Yeah.
Him and Trump are actually like good buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just be like, hey, you know Trump. We're actually
We stayed
there, like
there.
filming there. Like
He's like 6'202". He's like, no way, I stay there all the time. That's what Dana's gonna say.
from.
dude.
You see?
Yeah. And then
We bought a couple of MAGA hats.
Exactly,
You see?
dude.
Yeah.
Hey, you're media entertainment. We're media entertainment. Like, come on.
We got
dude.
a 15.
You're a white, he's a white.
got
He's a white.
Actually, he's a white and he's a green.
We got a $15 Trump shot glass. You know,
You got a $15 Trump shot.
we got it.
That's a good price.
I'm not gonna ditch you. I'm not gonna ditch you on that one. I got a plastic cup that holds the same alcohol. Okay, so Jake Paul has promised to quit boxing if Dana White meets his demands. The pair have been going back and forth in a war of words for months.
On
with
Twitter?
UFC boss not taking the YouTuber's boxing career seriously. And Paul has said on numerous occasions that he wants to get in the ring with another of White's fighters, having just knocked out ex-UFC welterweight champion Tyron Woodley
He has
last
a
month.
specific list, right? Like Nate Diaz, George Masvidal. Like he has a specific
Conor.
list.
AKA all the top people.
Yeah, the top guys, not necessarily even like
What about Conor?
the top fighters, but the ones that bring the crowd. So Conor,
Best
Masvidal.
pay-per-view
What do you guys think about the conspiracy that he's paying people to
Take a dive.
I think it's genius.
I don't think that's true. I think he's actually knocking out these dudes.
Because you know the other fight, right? He kind of like,
Yeah, but that's in boxing. Like you could take anything or any sport. Like you could watch someone do a little movement, and then if you focus
overanalyze.
Yeah, and if it's worse in slow motion, right? Because you see the movements and they're just way bigger. But it's a feint, and that dude Tyron Woodley got caught slipping because I'm sure he went in there thinking like, dude, I'll beat this fool's ass. He wasn't training. It was last minute, and he just got caught. Jake Paul's a big.
Jake did actually execute that. Like, I'm gonna do a body, and he's like, oh, and then opened up.
And not to speak out of turn, but I do appreciate your commentary on this because you have gotten knocked out more than we have.
More than Tyron Woodley, dude. Absolutely more than.
Coming from a knockout expert,
$2 million too.
And I did it for free.
as a knockout expert with CT, you know what I mean? Like, he's the most.
I'm the fucking authority.
I seen a boxing glove go like this and then like woke up, you know, like the next day.
In one of my first fights where I'm like this, and this dude punching me in the face. It's one of my favorite photos. I'll send it to you guys.
What's the count? How many times have you been knocked out?
I've never been knocked out.
Oh.
Never been knocked out.
Only technical knockout?
Except by Steve Greene.
What about in training? Have you been knocked out in
No,
training?
I never been
Damn, that's
knocked out.
Wait, weren't they at a fight where you got knocked out?
Am I crazy? No, that's Ron.
Oh, that was wrong.
Somebody else out before?
Not with like a headshot. Like not with like punching them in the head and then like dropping them.
You knocked him out for kicking him in the dick? What?
Yeah. Yeah. No, to the
You're
body.
allowed one dick kick per match.
A little dick kick, dude. A little dick nick, dude.
You have to tell the ref though, you're like, I would like to use my dick kick. Is that? And he's like, yeah, understood. Thank you.
He checks the gloves and then he checks your dick. Sure.
Checks your dick. So Dana White's been reluctant to allow any of his stars to cross over to boxing to fight Paul, but in his latest offering, Jake Paul has said that he will retire from boxing if White allows him to fight Jorge Masvidal in the UFC bout.
Holy fuck.
However, the 24-year-old said he will only do so if the UFC chief meets a list of demands, including improving pay for his roster of fighters.
Here's what you got to give it up to the kid about, right?
Yeah.
He's rich. He doesn't need to do this shit.
No.
I wouldn't fucking do this shit. You think I want to fight Jorge Masvidal if I'm a millionaire? No, I actually don't. You know, I'll pay $1 million not to fight this guy. That's what I'm saying. Like this guy, he just sits there. He's like, He's like, I'm a millionaire. All right, my life's beautiful. I could go fuck any chick I want. I don't care. He's like, you know what I want to do? I want to fight Jorge Masvidal. You know what I don't want to
Masvidal.
No, Masvidal's better.
Okay, Masvidal.
Jorge Masvidal, dude.
I mean, what's crazy is I believe he's probably on his way to being a 9-figure dude, Jake Paul.
If he's not there already.
So he's really crushing it. He really doesn't have to fight. And then when I saw all the conspiracy videos and stuff, I was like, oh shit, damn, that's true. It does look like it was like he gave him the signal. He's ready to go down. And then I know someone that's really close with Tyron that helped train him for many fights. And I was like, hey, is it possible? Is there even a 1% chance that he got paid to take a dive? He goes, no, there's no way. Like, he personally knows Tyron, and he just has too much pride as a champion, as an athlete to ever do that. Because, to these guys, like, these guys that have rose to the top, they've fought for $0 before. It's always been about pride and how good I am and skill and stuff like that.
So why would they take the money now and destroy their legacy?
Well, the difference is Tyron Woodley, right? In his UFC prime, he was making $250,000 a fight. Yeah. Whereas whether he took a dive or not, he made $2 million.
It is life changing.
Can we have an actual discussion about this?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're Tyron Woodley,
Okay.
It's like, hey, you didn't get beat by Jake Paul, you took a dive. Isn't that a little more honorable? Am I crazy? Like, because everyone hates Jake Paul. I'm not saying that I agree with that. I'm just saying, like, to the outer world.
I think it depends on, because people value different opinions differently. So it depends if Tyron cares about the opinions of his internal circle or the public.
Okay.
Right? Because if he cares about the opinions of his internal circle, like I think a lot of us do, which is why we can clown on each other, but we know how we really feel in real life. So we don't really give a fuck, right? Like, I don't care if people think I'm fucking dumb or whatever. But if people care about the outside circle, then I think that dictates how he would move.
Right.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's like, dude, if you have the excuse, it's like, dude, no, I took the L, it's all good, dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, isn't that a little better than like, hey, Jake Paul knocked me the fuck out. He laid me out, dude.
Yeah.
And after the fight, he was like, yeah, he caught me with a good shot.
And the potential, like, non-stop meme forever.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But here's the reality of the situation. If Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley were in a dark alley somewhere and they were to fight, Tyron Woodley would murder
like
Jake
a
Paul.
full-on fight, though.
A full-on fight to the death.
Fight for survival.
Jake Paul would be murdered by Tyron Woodley. 9 out of 10
You're
times.
saying he's saved by boxing.
Well, it's just because it's a very specific skill set, right? And Jake Paul has more advantages in that skill set which is crazy to even think about. Well, he didn't start there though.
Choosing his opponents correctly.
Right, yes, correct.
And he's changing the terms a little bit here and there when he decides to fight him on a 2-week notice, right? But at the end of the day, it's like a guy like Tyron Woodley, he just got caught, and that's for guys in the MMA world. Their whole mentality is like they're gonna win some and they're gonna lose some. And in boxing, it's not really like that. Everybody wants to have the O, like you're undefeated. But in reality, in MMA, it's like you can get knocked out, but come back and be world champion, which is more of a testament to like life, right?
Do you think MMA dudes have a different perspective on winning and losing?
For sure.
And then they're just like, took the L, come back.
It is what it is. Like they're more dogs than I think. I might get some flack, but they're probably going to be a little more mentally tough than some guys that have an O next to their name that are undefeated.
Like a pretty boy boxer.
Yeah, because in boxing the culture is fight the guy. You keep fighting bums, keep fighting guys that are 2-17.
They'll set bums up for you.
And it'll keep happening because they want to pad that record. But in MMA and the UFC, most times they're fighting the best guys in the world all the time. So you losing to one of the best guys, and it's a different fight every time you fight a different guy. Skill set, it's a completely different fight. So just because I beat up Bart doesn't mean I could beat up Anthony, or vice versa, right? Like there's so many more variables in this sport of MMA. So for those guys, they're used to taking losses.
If you could
it's
beat
fine.
me up, you could beat up Anthony.
I don't think so.
I think that's true. I think that's
What he
pretty
said
true.
is he beat you up, but he can't beat me up, and we should take that as a hard
I think
cut.
if you beat Bart up, you could beat up Anthony.
I don't think so.
100% universal fact.
So back to the story. So what Jake Paul had said on Twitter, he said, "Happy New Year, Dana White. Here's a real challenge for you. I will immediately retire from boxing and fight Jorge Masvidal. I'm sorry, Masvidal.
Mascodil.
Masvidal.
Wow,
Mascodile.
your Pokemon is evolving.
Final form.
McDonald's?
I will immediately retire from boxing and fight Jorge McDonald
Jorge McDonald.
in the UFC if you agree to 1. Increase minimum fighter pay per fight to $50,000. It's $12,000 right now.
You know what? Can I say what I love about that move? Jake Paul is so good at stirring shit up. He's challenging the big man, right? And then all the entry level fighters are already like, that's the big guy, and they're probably half fuck him. They don't pay me enough.
Yep.
So he's creating an army by stirring the bottom of the ocean up.
Yeah.
And
He's destroying their own or loyalty.
And then, so now people are like, yeah, Dana, why don't you pay me more?
And don't we all know that all that matters is the top card? So it doesn't matter that they can fight or whatever the fuck. It's the name versus the name.
Yeah.
And that's what gets everyone to pay for the pay-per-view.
Definitely.
His instigation tactics are fucking
Very
crazy.
good.
It's very
It's
good.
like saying, all that matters is your technical fighting skills. No, dude, marketing is fucking the hugest part of
That's
it.
where the money comes in.
That's why Conor lost the last 3 or 4 fights.
Yeah.
If he fights again, it will still be the biggest fight.
People love him.
And he's probably gonna fight for the title, which is crazy when he comes back.
That's like watching Chuck Liddell the last 16 years of his fucking career. He lost every single fight.
But he's Chuck Liddell.
He's Chuck Liddell. He's the Iceman.
Yeah, he's the Iceman. He's no Steve Green. But
He's the other Iceman. It's fine.
Number 2, guarantee UFC fighters 50% of UFC annual revenues, $1 billion in 2021.
You mean spread it among the fighters?
Absolutely.
Whoa.
Absolutely.
Dude, he's the people's champion.
Number 3, provide long-term health care to all fighters. You previously said brain damage is a part of the gig. Imagine the NFL said that. There are many UFC alums who have publicly said they are suffering from brain damage.
of course.
So like Bart said, this fool is stirring a like realistic as fuck pot.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The other part of it though is he's also like whether he's misinformed or not, he's also like the misinformed person just yelling random stuff like climate change or whatever. Because UFC, I believe they, out of all professional sports, they have spent the most money on research on brain trauma and stuff like that. So the stuff that Jake Paul is yelling at, I think Dana White honestly already has it covered, and it's part of the business model of UFC.
People just don't know.
So which is why people really love the UFC, and it would be so like a sucking of his own dick if he came out and said all these things. So I don't know if Jake Paul knows, or he's just using it as a tactic to just stir shit up.
Clearly a
a
tactic
tactic.
to drive people. Because, like,
Social media crews on his team.
yeah, like someone like me that's like maybe a casual viewer, right? Or like I'll watch from time to time and like I don't go deep like you guys. But if I read this tweet, I'm all like, man, this guy is really fighting for the fucking little guy, right? Yeah, right.
Like, yeah, they should be doing this shit. Why don't they cover the health of them? Like,
The
yeah.
UFC PI over here in Vegas, there's one almost on every major continent, and it's to help fighters who can't afford trainers, strength and conditioning communities, or nutrition and all that stuff. I mean, coaches.
You could live there.
You can live there.
But why does it have to be just fighters?
It's
What about the homeless? There's so many homeless in Las Vegas.
It's for there's food, there's the like world class facilities, and the UFC has invested in all that stuff.
Honestly, if it wasn't like Dana White has really changed the sport overall
Because
more
boxing
than
doesn't even
anybody
have
else.
that. Yeah, boxing doesn't even have that.
Boxing doesn't even have any of this. He's trying to do something completely new. He's trying to turn it into the NFL. And dude, like fucking 6 years ago, we would be fighting in an Indian reservation, and we'd be warming up in a bathroom. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. It's crazy to see how far the sport has.
$1,000 grand prize.
Not even, dude. We would fight. We one time I had to corner a guy. The guy he was gonna fight pulled out 20 minutes before, and then they grabbed some dude from the stands to fight my fighter.
The fight used to go down, yeah.
Yeah,
And they gave him a 22 revolver.
like the sport came from such a crazy, and it's still there. Like it's still there, but what Dana White's trying to do is make it way bigger than it already is, and it sucks.
Dude, you know what's next is fucking gunfighting, dude.
And just to finish off with the context, Jake says you have 5 days to accept and to implement the above by March 31st, 2022. Once implemented, I will immediately retire from boxing, enter UFC.
Wait, he has 5 days to accept by March 31st. I don't know if
That's 5 days.
his calendar's very
You have
good.
5 days to accept and to implement the above by March 31st.
Dana White's like, I don't give a fuck if you retire.
He says to all UFC fighters, time to take a stand and create value for yourselves and peers. You deserve higher pay, and you deserve long-term health care, and above all, you deserve freedom. Support each other. I am not your enemy. I am your advocate who selfishly wants to knock out a few of you to make some big bank.
Wow.
He knows how
Pretty
to stir
crazy.
it, man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, man. He's really good at that.
Marketing boy.
All right, fine. I'll give you guys Dana White's response before it's over.
Yes, thank you.
Is he at the win?
He's at Caesars? No, he's not at Caesars. We know he's not at Caesars. He's banned.
Jake, you never responded to the challenge. You publicly stated that I use cocaine. I do not. So I told you you could randomly cocaine test me for the next 10 years. I believe that you're a cheater, and I believe that you use steroids. So I want to randomly steroid test you for the next 2 years. And that thing that you came out with today, nobody on earth thinks that you really wrote that. You're too stupid. And for those of you that don't know, if you've ever watched one of his fights and you see when they do the stare down, the guy that's standing in the middle with the warlock nose and the big warlock wart on his face, apparently that's his manager. And that guy used to be an accountant for me. And let's just say this, he no longer works for me, and I think he's a scumbag. But if you two think that you can do it better than we do, we're doing this whole thing wrong. You can treat the fighters better than we do. Knock yourself out. Go start your own business. It's easy to do. Get the Warlock on it. The Warlock can get it started for you. What you and the Warlock should be focused on is your business. You're tanking. You can't sell pay-per-views. You're calling out Jorge Masvidal because he's a pay-per-view superstar. Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor, Mike Tyson. These are all superstars. You're not. You can't sell pay-per-views. So you do whatever the hell you want to do. I'm ready to roll, buddy. I don't use cocaine. Do you use steroids? Let's do this, Jake.
I don't use cocaine. While he sounds like he's just fucking did a line.
He's like, hey, I don't do cocaine, man.
You know what he should actually do, Jake Paul, then? Because they say he can't get pay-per-views, right? Okay, fine. He's like, guess what? It's me, Jake Paul. I'm going to fight Maggie Smith, a.k.a. Old Wendy from Hook. All right?
That'll be a pay-per-view.
You want a pay-per-view? Hey, this was Dana White's idea. You think I want to fucking punch out Maggie Smith? I don't. But I will.
Dana did this. That's how he flips it. Genius, dude. Are you the Warlock, dude?